Hey everyone, welcome to the Conflict Resolving channel. I'm Dr. Adam Lodzinski. Today's topic is conflict and the emotional credit card. What's the emotional credit card? Well, you may recall in my last video, I introduced a term that I coined, which is your positivity account with someone. Now that positivity account is based or is built on the good times and the good feelings that you gather together, that you work at and you build over time. Now, the positivity account's the result of many shared moments of bonding, and pleasure, and fun, and excitement. It's the reservoir of feelings of goodwill, affection, loyalty, trust, and so on and so forth. So the positivity account is a super important concept that you can use to sort of help understand why it's so important to build, even in relationships that are just starting, okay? Because sooner or later, you'll have conflict and there'll be turbulence. And the beautiful thing about the positivity account is that it can serve as a buffer in those times of turbulence. Well, okay, but what happens if there's more times of turbulence and conflict than there are times of building that positivity account together? That does happen in some relationships, and in some cases it happens later than sooner. In some cases it happens sooner than later. In any event, if the positivity balance, if the positivity account goes to zero or it's very, very thin, you may need to draw upon your emotional credit card. What's that mean? Well, there isn't much of a reservoir left, but you feel that you've got to at least try or keep trying to make something work. And what that means is drawing on this emotional credit card, as I call it. So what happens? Well, look, like any credit card, your emotional credit card has a limit. And in a way, you could also say that it has a very high interest rate, because you can't keep pent up anger, resentment, or other negative feelings. You cannot keep them pent up for long. And even keeping them pent up has a cost. That's the weight of these suppressed emotions. That's the interest you're paying, as it were, in the emotional credit card. And as that balance, that negative balance, increases the weight of that emotion, those negative feelings, those resentments, and so on, the weight of those feelings increases and get harder and harder to carry around. And so what happens, and I think you can see where I'm going with this, what happens when the emotional credit card or your emotional credit card maxes out? Well, arguments and blow-ups become more and more frequent. Moments of loving and bonding and fun and all that get farther and fewer between. Your arguments and your blow-ups and your conflicts become more frequent, more intense, and they last longer. And they get more and more difficult to get over. And the simple truth is that when emotional credit cards max out on one or both ends of the relationship ends. It's just not sustainable. So the emotional credit card is a concept that I want you to kind of bear in mind and ask yourself in difficult relationships. And don't forget, there are all kinds of conflict-prone relationships. I've talked about one, the so-called stretch relationship, as I call it, in another video. There'll be further videos later on other conflict-prone relationships. But these are the kinds of relationships that sooner or later draw not only on your positivity account and can leave that account to zero, they're also the kind of relationships sometimes, especially the relationships that you cannot get out of easily, that will start to cost you on your emotional credit card. And you need to be aware of this. I want you to think about it, and I want you to see what you can do to prevent that from spiraling into an emotional debt, as it were, that is very difficult to get out of. Okay, I'll leave you with that thought, and I hope you found this video helpful, thought-provoking. I hope that this idea I have of the emotional credit card and the positivity bank helps you frame what might be going on in some difficult relationships in your life. If you like the video, please share, please like. If you have a question or a comment, I'd love to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and by all means, check the bio for information and links to my book. Till next time, all the best. Take care.